Okay, me working fine. If I have earphones in so I can actually tell that. It's always a good idea to debug stuff, right? Good morning, all. Good morning. So, you did indeed sleep through. I even pinged you at like, what time did I start streaming? I started streaming at 6 my time, 7 your time, right? Oh, I pinged you at 8 your time. Okay. Yeah, I forgot you don't check the actual channel that says, hey, I'm streaming. All good. All good. Yeah. Oh, well. Oh, well. Appreciate you being here now. Okay. So, yesterday, I didn't get any more done after stream, which is sad, but I just wasn't. I didn't have the energy for it. Was going to try gathering our 4 review items. Um, Based off of the user. Why are you doing this now, monitor? Monitor's blinking in and out. We're somewhat talking about using velocity at work now. Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to introduce this field, and I'll create a query against deliverables that says, "Can I review?" Um, and that way we can use the same deliverables endpoint. Just the presence of this field should be a bigger query. But we'll see. We're learning. Because we aren't terrified of our product plan anymore, we want to plan out multiple sprints of work into the future, which is where velocity comes. Fair enough. I have opinions, but it's like it's not based on deep knowledge of what you're doing. So I'll reserve opinion for letting you see how that goes. And hopefully I'm wrong. I'm not sure the backlog should connect directly to the plan or roadmap. Well, I can't turn the stream into a dig deep into questions about how you do things. So maybe we can have a chat off stream sometime. Um, that actually work if I do that? No, that doesn't do it. It doesn't know that this is being called from the. So how do I do for action table? Yeah, probably not the right thing to do, but we'll see. So the idea is that basically this data loader, by asking for this field, should trigger an extra set of queries, which will pull the data in to determine whether this deliverable should be reviewed. And then we should be able to display. Sorry for the blink. I think the cable kind of gets pulled a little bit out of the other monitor with movement, etc., and eventually like becomes so loose it just keeps popping on and off. Yeah. Oh, Joe, good morning. What has been your experience in using velocity to predict and several sprints ahead? Um, Good if the team can accurately estimate, and I mean consistently estimate, the more random the stories and the sizes become, the harder it is to estimate velocity. If the team hasn't been involved in dictating what the stories are, then there's um, a risk there. Um, and planning several sprints out ahead is you should only be able to say confidently what the next sprint is. 5 and 8 pointers are normally a bit of a smell in terms of depending on how you're sizing things. Yeah. Um, but it all comes down to how you size as a team. And are you working on one specific piece and another person's working on another specific piece, in which case your pointing is useless. If you can go into the backlog and pick out any story and work on it, and you've all sized them together, then fair enough, you might have a chance. But there's lots of factors that go into completely missing. If you're siloed, then good luck. I haven't seen that work. Um, okay, so I just got to figure out how to build this data loader. I need projects to um, then include d dot. So I think I'm losing my job tomorrow. How long have you been here, Dota? Um, yeah, let's save the chat for later. Well, I sincerely hope not. I hope that it's just uh, a guiding discussion. Yes, it counts. Yeah. Oh well, that's a rough one. Sorry to hear that. But that can still be a guiding discussion, by the way. Just because HR is involved just means that they're trying to make sure that there's enough people there that can steer in the right direction, right? That might be hey, we want to put you on another month's probation, or that could be a, you know, we're worried about the attitude or the direction and the pushback, or it could be all sorts of things. So don't let yourself get too worked up. So you're actually there. Easier said than done. I get that. Okay, so I've got project here. Oh, I do have teams. I do have teams. Oh, I think I might have some of the data I needed. Then include P goes to P dot teams. Oh, what? Oh, that's the associated project. Then include. Dang it. That is associated project. But what? Hey, Grumpy. How you doing? Welcome in. How's things? Okay. Team associated project. I need to get. What do I need here? What do I have and what do I need? um, Well, writing out your queries beforehand would have been good. If I have a deliverable, I do not have associated project. I have associated projects. That's what I want now. I need associated project to link to. We'll let that in. Um, I'll put it in the group that's here. Um, Profits. Hello, how you doing? Welcome in. Associated project. Why doesn't that have associated project has deliverable ID? That has project type. Well, this gets very confusing now. This is not. Things around. Okay. So I can't show anything right now because things are not building. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say, hey, go and get me the things that I need to review. Right, that's the entire purpose of this piece. I think that's the point, though. And have fun with what we're doing. So anyway, um, the idea being that if I'm on a team that is associated with this project, then I'm allowed to see this item for review. So I'm trying to do this using a data loader in here, which does feel like the right thing to do because this would be, oh, it has to be ready for review, and it has to be, and then ultimately it has to be for my user, right? I have to be one of the users associated with it. I don't think. Where do we pass? We don't actually pass. Oh, that's the GUID. Oh, does that give us a method that is load? Oh, the iLookup of GUID. Hmm. That's the GUID to deliverable. That's the identifier. Hmm. Yeah. So the concept here is that if I include this property, I'd filter it on the GraphQL side and say where I can review, and it would give me all the deliverables that are eligible for me to review, which means that I don't have to have any special endpoints. I don't have to have anything like that. I can just, the fact that I include this should load everything else, and it shouldn't slow down every other deliverable query. That's yet to be determined. But these are hot chocolate um, data loaders. Version 16. Latest stable is 15. Yeah, I decided not to try and change up my area. Catalog DB contact. First, let's have a look at how we go resolve. Batch data loader. This gets attached data loader. Okay. Does that still? That's still correct. Ah, that is not now. Don't need. Don't do what it does. Certainly works. What does this give me now? This is just a single one. Okay. Which is fine. That's fine. It's one deliverable. And yeah, this is going to be the challenge. Can I pass in more data to that data loader? Yeah, this coding game is challenging. Oh, I'm not. This is the actual stuff I'm looking at, by the way. Um, um, get product, batch data loader, int product, get keys. Keys is the IDs that we care about. So this will get me a deliverable that's for review. That's fine. Dictionary. Going to matter. Although we should use async where appropriate, right? And that have. Oh. I'll probably speed that up quite a bit. Okay. Why don't you like that now? Really? It doesn't matter if I use that there? Interesting. Yeah, you don't like that. That's the example. That's literally your example. Well, not literally, but using that. Yeah. That query pattern. Define. Oh, etc. The generate one. Specifications. This isn't using specifications. I mean, n plus one is going to be a problem. It's a way you format and access your data problem, right? Not a. It's a very easy one to implement. You just have to look at it later and verify. Theory is get load async, put the data loader in there, ID, cancellation token. Is that failing? That worked before. I don't want to to list it. Oh, and to read only dictionary is not a thing. Um, oh, that helps. Oh no, that was what I had. Okay, this should complain now. Yeah, it complains. If I do to list there, it works. No, that I shouldn't do data stuff at 7 o'clock in the morning. But I'm clearly not wide awake enough for this stuff. Why does that work? To list async, cancellation tokens, subscriptions to dictionary. The problem is I'm going to enumerate that and then pass it back. And this is going to be, this is the n plus one exactly, you said, right? Because this is per deliverable, which means I'm enumerating that and not making it a part of the overall query. And I think that's going to get calls there, but that's fine. Understanding the data loader is it abstracts the calls themselves. Is that an understanding or a question? Bit of a um, I, the way I'm seeing it is how did I put it, right? It enriches. Every data fetching technology suffers the n plus one problem. The difference between GraphQL and example REST is that n plus one problem occurs on the server rather than on the client. We only have to deal with this problem once on the server rather than on every client. To illustrate the issue, um, yeah, gotcha. So data loader does kind of help to solve this. However, it all comes down to my design still, right? That's the problem. I'm thinking that I might be forcing this a little bit too much. So the idea is that I have this deliverables endpoint, right? And I'm going to call this deliverables endpoint with a filter because I want to say, can I review? And that is very much for this user, and it's where that field is true, right? Where ultimately where can I review is true. Um, so that might look, yeah. I see they use decorators, which I'm guessing is the abstraction part. Decorators, object type, you mean the attributes? Yes. I'm on a batch. This is a batch data loader. I think I might have also screwed up that one. That might not be a grouped batch. That might be a batch. get loader. But I'm not even on that one yet. So my problem is I've got to get the shape right. So ultimately, I'm select star from users. I am Alan, right? So where user ID, where ID equals 1, join um, user teams, the on u dot b equals u dot b ready. Join team associated projects. There you go. Right. So I want u dot name, e dot. Morning, Apex. How you doing? N+1. I've always found N+1. I get the concepts. I find it very hard to avoid in an initial pass because you're not thinking of that optimization at that point. And it's not necessarily an optimization; it's more of an accuracy. But then when you start to look at the actual um, behavior, you should be looking at queries, right? Then you can kind of see the problems. Oh, look, I queried that, and 50 of the records showed. 50 of the queries happened. I want to avoid that. I want to pull this all together. Um, yeah. Um, if I have associated projects for a team, I don't want to see, 2 queries come through. So I'm getting both teams individually. I want to see it all happen in one query, right? So I get one data set back. And it's just it's shaping the data in a format that will give you what you want. And I think that it's okay. I know it's not ideal to hit the database 50 times, but sometimes N+1 is more efficient data wise. Well, I don't think it's more efficient data wise. I think it's more. I don't panic about it up front, especially when I'm doing something that has very little expansion. Um, must batch the scripts, otherwise you can just solve it with writing code more efficient. Yeah. So I just got to figure out the right shape. We add some tabs to our SQL. No, I write the SQL my way. You write the SQL your way. That's wrong. Alan is not associated with. Alan's associated with 2 teams. Okay, we're gonna delete that one for a second. I'm gonna remove this one. That build. I'm gonna look at the problem. Think about what I actually need. Raising a bar. Yes, pretty much. Oh, when you come and work on the project, then you can have a say in how the code's written. How's that sound? Until then, get up. All right, my code the way I want to write my code. What is the GitHub? So I have a team associated with my user, right? And a user has projects, right? So name. So Alan is on the DBA team, which is part of the database that has the database project associated with it. This one, this query, has database and DBA team, right? So by virtue of being associated with that team, this project, this team is associated. So this user should appear you need to review this item because this item is for review, right? So where d dot status equals ready for review, right? So there we go. So this is what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to say, hey, I'm logged in. Rish, hello. How are you doing? So this user who I'm logged in as, Alan, should see this item when he looks at ready for review. It's been a while, yes. Hope you are well. So let's take a look at create a new one. How do you create a new? There we go. If we go to localhost 4200, anyone joining the stream, you are more than welcome to ask questions or pass opinions. Like my SQL tabbing is weird. You're more than welcome to join in. Happy to talk about what I'm doing. The stream is not about me coding; it's about me. So how I might do development, talk about it as well. So this deliverable is now ready for review, which means that when I log in as this user, I should see this review tab, and that deliverable needs to show here. Only that deliverable that's marked as ready for review, because it is associated with a project that I am associated with. I'm associated with that project through my teams. My teams here and here, right? So a user can be associated with many teams. Many teams can be associated with many projects. Teams are associated with projects, right? So this might not be the final way of dealing with this. I might pivot this a little bit because there's a little bit wrong in the language there, because the user being associated with many teams is fine, right? A QA might float between teams. As far as you come with your project management. Yeah. Well, this is currently that project. This is now Kaizu. I've been working on this more solidly in the last month. We have initiatives and we have deliverables defined, and we have we're working on the for review. We have the backlog, and then we have the boards. We can track our work, and yeah, so it's coming along. Things are moving for certain. But basically, this scenario right now is that the project manager, whatever you want to call them, is saying, "Yep, this one, I've done all the work. I've defined the requirements. I've set out the acceptance criteria. We're good to start tasking this." So these tasks wouldn't be here in this case. We're now ready for review, and that deliverable should now appear here, because now the development team only really care about implementation and delivery. They don't need to go into initiative planning. The development team now can go to review and say, "Oh, here's what we have." So I'm just going to figure out how to pivot that data. Oh, I have deliverables. Vacation. Okay. So okay. So like this one, that won't work anymore. This will give me my deliverables, and I can add any information I want into that. um, projects. So I can determine if it's associated with, so this one's associated with database and backend. But what I can't do from there is know that the user, this user in particular, right, if I add status on there as well, I can filter on the this side, right, if I add it in, right, I can filter ready for review. But being ready for review is not all that I need. I need to know that this user is associated with one of the projects. Now, I have so far made, so I have get deliverable by ID, those are specific things. But it feels wrong to create a get deliverables ready for review and do it at that level. And so let's for the sake of it, let's create that endpoint. See if we can see it for review. We include P goes to P dot project. What would I include though? That's the problem. I need to know. I'm struggling with the shape of the data in my head. That's where I'm look right a second. Trying to visualize how this was. And S. Adam Dev, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in. If you are new to the stream, I'm more than welcome to ask any questions. If you've been here a while, you want to. Lito, welcome in. How you doing? We have deliverables. We don't have, this does not give us, this is associated projects. But it's not quite this because I don't get to project from here because associated projects is a flattened version of the projects. And I don't get the teams associated there. I could try and get the associated project back to the deliverable. This is all .NET on the back end and Angular 21 on the front end. With we're using Postgres and MongoDB, Kafka, Mass Transit. Batch update actions. Do that? Batch update for what? Sorry, your horn. Tickets of some form. I mean, anything is possible once I start getting a version out there that people can play with. Then I'm open to how that might look. You don't know how the product is going to be used until people start using it, right? So I can design this in the most perfect way, but it ends up being completely broken once people get to play with it and see how they want to use it. So, yeah. Now, the beauty is, not the beauty, I suppose the benefit is I have built this to be, yeah, you can, and good morning, Sully. Yeah, I'm not going to develop the perfect system, that's for certain. But I have designed it in a way that I am comfortable changing it, and I've practiced changing it. So if a requirement came along as like, oh, I need to bulk update, then I wouldn't be as scared of implementing it, um, because I'm pretty much, comfortable with how it is. Not difficult to change that sort of stuff. What I'm debating here is how do I get so again, this is a ready for review. I have a user ID. I say, do I need to see this one? Right. So it's really team associated projects. View. And can I create this as a different view? If I have to create this as a view, then that's fine. Actually, I might end up creating a for review view. Oh dear. The naming this area of the system is the most difficult thing I've named. I've been loving programming ever since I stopped using spamming libraries in my project. Spamming libraries. Good to love programming. Finish my chocolate. Yeah. So if we have left, well, actually, left join user teams, team ID, join ut dot user ID. Okay. Do I need teams then? I can do that on app. I don't need a team name. I need the project at that point. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a what I mean by is I'm not using a library for every single thing. Ah, gotcha. Yes. Building things. Part of this project has been very much building the libraries I need because I think when it comes to building software, you have to evaluate, especially if you're doing it for professional reasons, right? You have to evaluate how much effort is it, how much is it to maintain, and what does it give us. And in that time, can I go off and find the perfect library, or do I still need to adapt it? Or because a library is designed with an intent, and sometimes what you want to do doesn't quite fit with the intent, but it gets you there. You end up hacking around it or whatever. And I've really over the last couple of years leaned into the once I feel the tension of this doesn't quite fit. I'm again like why I gave up on the data loaders a minute ago is because I'm feeling like I'm just trying to stuff something in here to make it work. Then I'm not going to use it. So, and along the way of doing this, I've developed a few libraries. Is it worth the time? Yeah. But if you're doing this for professional purposes, you also need to evaluate the time and maintenance cost. You depend upon a library, but it solves a massive problem. Then you should be paying for the support of it. If something's a convenience, and it would take a little bit of time, but it won't really require much maintenance, then maybe you write it yourself. Right? Reinventing the wheel, as it is termed, is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's useful for an understanding perspective. In this, there's several libraries I've built around Mediator, around Kafka, that are just convenience libraries for me. They work, right? I've been testing them for now years. Are they the right thing to do? I don't know, but they solve my problem and I understand them. and if they break, I know how to fix them. I can test them, etc. So yeah, so there's several libraries, and those are the open source parts of this project. The mediator outbox, the Kafka extensions libraries, the mediator sagas. Yes, I implemented sagas in mediator, which is probably a real big overkill, but solves my problem. Or it does so far. I haven't come back around to test that for yet. So, well, thanks. Thank you very much for commenting on YouTube. I apologize if you're still around. I have been a developer for professionally to 27 years this year. I've been doing this a few minutes. I apologize. YouTube and Twitch are not connecting no matter what I want to do. Oh, I can't get the chats to join, so I apologize if I missed that comment. It is a bit of experience, yeah. 27 years doesn't feel like 27 years. The one thing I can do here is I can do deliverable.identifier. So I can do d.id, ut.team ID. I can create a view that gives me all the information. Like Scott Hanselman says, do you really have 27 years experience or 1 year repeated 27 times? I mean, am I stuck in a rut? Just keep doing the same thing over and over again. By that measure, I would say I have 27 years experience. I've always fought against getting stuck in a rut. I always like to do new things, try new things, grow. Partially why I stream. Funding that statement is that phrase of his. So I can create a view that is deliverables ready for review. I can then create a for review endpoint, and now I can filter that for my user. Yeah, yeah. Well, it'd be pretty hard. I mean, you know, .NET didn't exist when I started my career, but it did. It was in the early phases of development, right? Wasn't until a few years into my career that .NET came around. I was a pretty early. So yeah. Yeah. Well, welcome in SpotX. I apologize that chats aren't linked. And the overlay does not show your comments on stream. The stream I always not working, but yeah. If you had to delete one concept from modern software development, frameworks, patterns, practices, what would it be and why? I had to delete one concept. Frameworks, patterns. I don't know if I would delete anything. The only thing I would work to delete would be no, that's an interesting question. And this extends to Twitch. If you heard me, if you had to delete one concept from modern software development, frameworks, patterns, practices, what would it be and why? Not sure I would delete anything. I mean, there's I want to delete JavaScript. uh, Uh, I think those are the go-tos, right? The like, oh well, I get rid of PHP, or I get rid of, um, I get rid of uh, Angular JS, or I get rid of. Um, I think frameworks are the easiest to jump on. Languages, maybe. Um, I think if I could change one thing about software development, it would just be our tribalism. I suppose it would be the whole. Well, I'm using this language is more. It's superior to yours because we spend a lot of time like, oh, you should just use this. Like, just use Rust, right? Why are you using C sharp? Um, ooh, don't use that tool, right? That I think that wastes a lot of time. Um, and whether it's done in jest or it's done really, because people really do become quite um, uh, protective over what they do. I think that's the one thing I would definitely um, remove from software development. We can all, you know, you can use a tool to learn from. Um, you can use the language or framework. You can like it, love it, you know. Um, and again, I use C sharp for this project because I am productive in C sharp, right? I know what I'm doing in this language. Um, yeah. Yes, now there are many tools available to do the same things. And that's fine. Like I said, reinventing the wheel is not a problem, right? If you build something, um, and you learn a lot from it, that's fine. If you go off and write a messaging library, or you go off and write a web framework, or you go off and write a language, the act of going through that will make you appreciate things more. So I think it's actually very wise to from time to time, and that's why I don't know if you've seen his uh, um, what is it? Are you in here somewhere? I know you are. Coding Challenges by John Cricket. Um, you've seen uh, the Coding Challenges site. I think it's very useful. Um, I would remove null. Null has an idea. Um, so I think it's useful to go off and build some of those tools from time to time because it gives you an insight into how they work and what you're doing with them. And reinventing wheels is acceptable. And again, I've done it several times in this project. I've been doing mobile development for about 3 years, and honestly, AI's growth is starting to feel overwhelming. What should take on how someone like me should navigate this? I think you should use the AI as a learning tool more than you use it for a coding tool. I think you should be asking more questions and learning the gaps in your knowledge, using it as a tutor essentially. Um, I think it's not going away, and I think it's a very useful tool when used right. The smells don't. If you're using it as a coding tool and you don't understand fully how things are working, um, then it will do things you don't understand, and you've then got to use that to, you've got to support what you do. Um, so um, I would lean into it, and I am leaning into it. So the UI here, disclosure, full disclosure, is all well, it's not all AI driven, but it's a lot of the design has been using AI tools to help me progress because this is one of my weaker areas. That being said, I still ask it questions about what it's doing, why it's doing things, and have it document patterns and things for me, so I can still learn from it. And that's one thing need to do is you still have to be a developer. You cannot stop being a developer. Speaking of using it as a learning tool, I've been prompting it with ask me about using this. Ask me about this using the Socratic method. Find it helps understand gaps. Nice. Null as a concept is largely regarded as a mistake. Null creates errors, and multiple languages are better way for nulls. Associated null checking. Um, Programmers create errors. Is how I'm going to say that. um, but yeah, actually do that. Quit current tab. There we go. That worked. Productive time. Thank you very much for the raid. Welcome in. How are you doing? How are things? Your productive time. Nice. How was your stream? What were you doing? What were you working on today? Finishing up a module for school. Nice. Nice. What are you studying software engineering? I've caught your stream before. Co-working. Nice. Medicine. Oh wow. That's cool. Didn't finish it. Some days are productive, some days aren't. Well, welcome in. Thank you very much for the raid. Even knows the concept served a purpose well until the language writers thought it could be done better. That, so right now we've been discussing some um, things we would change about programming. I'm working on my product management application. The goal of this is to try and help um, do some of the things that I think other tools lack. I have opinions. Opinions are good. And I've been working on trying to move towards, hey, here's how we do the work. So, yeah, I'm kind of working on this review concept right now. So I'm trying to build up how do I get this information. So trying to be productive before work. So if you are new to the stream, questions and thoughts and opinions are always welcome. I am happy to talk about software development or career, etc. I've been a developer for quite a while, and I'm building this because it is my kind of. I don't suppose it would be an opus magnum. It's kind of the thing I want to build, the thing I have a great passion for, and I'm trying to build this in public a little bit. I do work on it off stream as well, but there is a Discord linked in the cards below. All the videos are uploaded to YouTube, so past videos you can see, and yeah, that is me. Dan, I'm good, sir. I've not caught you streaming in the last couple of days. Are you okay? Hopefully, well. How's the thing going? Oh, okay. Let's see if we can't do something productive here. So this will get me a ready for review list. I could get deliverables for review from this, and then so this would be deliverable for review. 5 more days, 15 pills to go, and the last medical appointment, hoping for good news. Nice. Lack of time and energy. That tracks. That tracks. So if we do public int ID, at least I can hear on my left side now. That's a positive. That's definitely a positive. Yeah. Public period identifier. Goes up into bed though. Good luck. Relative time. Again, thank you very much for the raid. Rest well. And see you again. Take care. Um, I've got to think about the shape of what I'm doing here, right? I got to think about int user ID. Actually, we need user identifier. Join users you on. We need user identifier, not. We don't need. Actually, we don't. We can't have a deliverable. I don't know why I'm deleting the entire join. But we can't have a deliverable that does not have a team associated with it, right? And this cuts down that winding. This is fine. This is what I want. I don't want to pull more rows than I need. So if I left join that, well, right, if I left join all of them, I do column-based editing. Yeah, also if you back in the right order. This would be kind of my view. From here, what I will do is I will join other things and other objects, and that will give me what I need. Yeah, if you are interested in following up on things on this stream, if you want to learn more about what I do or how I do it, if you want to ask any questions, there is a Discord linked in the cards below, both on YouTube and on Twitch. You're more than welcome to join. We hang out there several times a week in voice chat, talking about random things. More than welcome to join voice chat from time to time if you want. But there's also channels for sharing your projects and asking questions, and I'd really actively encourage anyone to ask a question. And you don't need to be an experienced developer, right? You don't need to be, you can be learning. I'm happy to talk about stuff. I did not follow a traditional education background. I became a programmer purely by luck, if I'm honest. But that is, I'm happy to share my perspective on things. I don't always have the most technical understanding, but I do have experience doing what I do. So, do I need deliverable identifier? I don't think I need deliverable identifier. I think I just need this, because this gives me public this deliverable ID. That's team ID. User identifier. That's that. Now we have public virtual deliverable public these cannot null, and then that's that. We do that. Create view as that. That's that. See, I've got the concept in there before. I've done this before. Then we have here. So I've got to figure out migrations. That's another problem. To figure out migration. So, what? No, I did not. I've been looking at a tool from Redgate called Flyway, and I'm considering it for this project. I've just got to figure out how I want to use that because migrations are. I don't use entity framework migrations purely because I don't uh, enjoy using them. Um, the community edition of Flyway Desktop. So I'll install this quickly. Um, when developing like this, what I've got to be careful of is that I don't leave. I've got a lot of tables, a lot of queries, a lot of views, a lot of things here. I cannot leave my schema um, question, otherwise I'm going to end up reconstructing things time and time again. So it's really important for me to kind of be disciplined on tracking these things. And recently, when I changed to Postgres, I dropped everything I was working on in terms of scripts. So I had this scripts folder, and every time I did a change, I'd create a script for that change, which is great. However, once I moved to Postgres, I kind of dropped that a little bit, and I have Rex, boy. I have this other tool now where I have scripts. But that's great. But what does this look like when I'm uh, when I've got dozens of things changing, etc. So what we're going to try is use this Flyway desktop thing. So this is a community edition version of this tool. Apparently they're just updated. So I'm going to select community. I do not want to try the enterprise version. Um, uh, um, uh, Mod. I'm getting a password. I cut my thumb yesterday, so I can't use my. Using a phone when you have a band-aid all over your thumb is kind of difficult. Um, Not fun. Yeah, password. Flyway is this tool, by the way. Just a bit smarter. Fine. I just got to log in. I'm okay with logging into people like this. There you go. Send me a Redgate email. It logs back to localhost. That's funny. Yeah, it's a sign in. Yep, there you go. Okay. I get that they know that I'm using the tool. I'm signed into their system. Oh, that's Napalm. Good morning. How are you doing? So, well, now it's on exit. I did that already. Okay. So, import SQL source control for Oracle project. No, new project. Project name Kaizu. Let's see if this will let me. I've been developing this project now since 2023. So we're, 2.5 years into this. I have never moved it out of the prototypes folder. It's probably a good time to move. I mean, not like I'm committing to anything else, right? What is this project? Yeah, I actually call it Project Next. So if I select that folder, database type is Postgres. What happens? Does this detect that I've got a GitHub already? Is the question. Break my GitHub. Um, okay, it knows it's on GitHub. That's fine. That's awesome. So migration scripts. Actually, oh, what's project folder? So that's created that flyway there, and migrations is a folder there. Schema model there. We'll go for that. We'll do that. What's the worst that happens? So add a migration. Huh, I can actually do all my management. I've got all these changes to commit. Awesome. So again, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to establish a migration tool which will allow me, as I create something, I can put it over here, create a migration, track that change, and run these. What I was hoping is, could I infer schema? I could kind of create baseline scripts, but I kind of have them already. There we go. Apologies, as it was a dark mode. Okay, so what we'll do there is, after we've created our view, we'll go here and say scripts, generate DDL to clipboard, go back over to Flyway, like there. Wow, that is interesting. I created that in lowercase. There you go, maybe it did the tabbing for you. Decided I was being a savage and I needed to tab things in. Description, deliverables for review, view. I can version this, I can make it repeatable. It will create a table when it runs that if I run the migration through here. Yeah. I gotta worry about what I'm committing by doing this, but we'll find out. Deliverables for review view. Save that. So I can point it out to the database, right? So existing database to pose password, Postgres, localhost 5432. Can't type that apparently. Database. Oh, this is why this is going to get interesting. What database do I run it on? Interesting. Yeah, I'll do that. I think for right now, we just have to track these as there. And this is a way of managing this. But do I have a project per? Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to come back around on that because basically what I've got to think about there is, do I have a project like Kaizu view, Kaizu planning, etc., and I create those things? It was updated. Come on. Okay, let's see if we can finish this out. So have that, have that. Now, from the infrastructure perspective, we're going to need add class, is deliverable or configuration. And these are, so entity type configuration, deliverable view, builder to view, deliverables. Now this is an interesting one. Deliverables for review. I can name it this way because it actually does translate properly. Sorry, issuing some windsurf prompts quick because it's going to variable pricing model with quotas, and I have request. Right? Okay. I have 5 people live in my follow in my. Okay. That's unusual. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I have 5 people live in my followers, my followed streams. Has key, K goes to K dot deliverable ID. Actually, no, that can't be. That cannot be the key. That cannot be the key. Because that's not. Yeah, that's more accurate. So by virtue of being in here, this will be included in the context, right? I don't need to specify db set, db set, db set because they'll be loaded in as part of this. as oh no, sorry, view DB context. Sorry. Oh, I do add it in here. You don't have to. What are they on? Maybe I've learned this since. So if I have this um, apply configurations, what this does is it allows me to have configurations under this folder, so I can ignore these configurations here. But that's what this is actually achieving. I'm actually applying all these configurations. But ultimately, because I'm applying the configurations, I don't need the DB sets explicitly here. However, because I use the DB sets from the view side of things, so I actually query straight from here, I need them in here. So that's why the a deliverable public DB set deliverable view. Uh, yeah, well, that's a thing. If you're using Entity Framework, you do not need these here if you have configurations that you're loading. So, if you're just using the DB, if you're not using the DB set directly, if you're abstracting it. So if I'm using it in the case of repositories, the other apps, I don't need all these here. They can be done by the config. Okay, so deliverable for review. We can now do query. Let's add query.deliverables. I'm yet to figure out how to do query types in um, uh, hot chocolate properly. So yeah, so get deliverables, remove them out, them in here. Like that. Oh, because task is the wrong one. Oh, that's right. Copy it up properly. Yeah, that's what I'm missing. Was missing one thing there. We'll get there. Okay, so deliverables for review. We're going to go to deliverables for review, include deliverable, include theme. Oh, oh yeah, that's a fundamental change. Um, and always one I forget. We don't have the tenant ID on here. Um, I can do d dot deliverable dot. Yeah, I can do that. This is going to return deliverable. So we're going to pivot this a little bit differently. So for this tenant and d dot user identifier equals user dot user identifier. Uh, that might not be the query I want to write, but we'll find out. Actually, we don't need team. We don't need team on there at all. Might be a little simpler than I thought. Now, I don't like the idea of doing get deliverables for review. Um, it would be nice if we could just say, "Hey, go and get me deliverables." And by the way, I want them to be ones that I want to review. That would be, I think, a nicer experience from this code side. But as I learn more about GraphQL, I can back around on that. By the way. Oh crud. Okay. Does anyone have any suggestions for raid targets? Anywhere you would like to go today? Wow, co-working and studying is a bigger category than software development. Interesting. We need more .NET developers out there. Anyone? Where we are. Okay, so that's running. So what I do here now is I'll refresh this and we'll we'll try and create query for deliverables for review. Query deliverables for review. Um, Title, description. Okay, added. Be amazing if it works first time. First time. There we go. So that is a deliverable that I need to review. 100%. I could change that. Yeah. And moving my team. So now I'm not associated with any teams. Oh. Oh, that hasn't made it all the way around yet. That's still showing because I still have access to that. So once that filters through, there you go. I've removed myself from the team. Now I don't need to see that for review. So there we go. That worked perfectly. DBA and so again, now it's there. Well, that happened quick. Happened very quick. I must have caught it right on the edge of cycle of updates. So if I remove myself from the teams, that isn't an item for me to review. So this is perfect. Now I have a deliverable here, so I can go and do everything I do in the normal deliverables, get all the regular objects, and that works fine. So cool. That is where we're gonna finish up today, I'm afraid. Bungalow is doing Twitch overlays with good old C# for fun. So we're gonna go raid Bungalow. So yeah, I will return on Monday. So over the weekend, I'm going to do some more work around getting this review thing working. The ultimate aim will be to have the the uh, this being a form that is very easy for a developer to come along and say, "Oh, I need to look at this. Let me look at the requirements. These are the things I might want to do." Maybe we provide add notes or whatever. We'll talk about that as we go forward. But by Monday, I should have this view in there that allows us to do that, and that starts to move this forward. So let's go raid Bungalow. I'll remember to raid today instead of shout out. Have a great weekend, all. Again, if you are interested, you're more than welcome to join the Discord and hang out and have a chat from time to time. So, yeah, take care, have a great weekend, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye, all.